We are back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy Mirror Mirror. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. I don't know what that is. Welcome.
Harvey Jim Lord.
He does compare
the Dread Pirate Starfleet Boy.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is exactly who I am. I am the Dread Pirate Starfleet Boy. As you wish, Ian. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm so happy to be joined by Trek Cat Ian, as well as
everybody.
Earl Grey Trekkie Robbie. Hello.
Hiya.
Robbie, you're a bit more comfortable today, I see.
Yeah, normally I'm wearing. No, I'm not wearing. I'm sitting on a hard plastic chair, but I've got a comfier chair today, so I won't be wobbling around as much.
We're okay. Whoa.
That was me. That was my tablet. Sorry.
Now we know how you're in the chat at the same time. We've already got some nice folks in the chat. We got Robbie. Somehow he's. Oh, I guess that's the opposite, the non-mirror version of you. Mirror on the Wall. One of the best TOS episodes of them all. We shall see. Nice rhyme. Good job.
Yeah, well done.
Welcome everyone. Hey. Cake is eternal. Hello everyone. Hello Shishan Girl. Or Cake is eternal. Wait, that is Shishan Girl, right? I can't remember. I think so. Yeah, there's the Fletcher. I see the Fletcher. All right. Hey guys, Saturday greetings. Hello, Mr. Braxton. Nice to see you. Pounds chest and thrust arms stiffly. Yes, we are on Mirror Starfleet Boy, and I'm the Emperor. And you guys have to plot to kill me throughout the whole episode.
If I wanted you dead, you'd be gone. You'd be long gone.
Really, I must tell you, I am a formidable enemy. I would be a formidable enemy.
Yeah. Excuse the gratuitous swearing already, but don't fuck with me, boy.
Oh, wow. Dun 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 dun.
Oh, we started already.
If that happened, then I'm sure McCoy would have to fix you up.
I think so. I'll just smash something over his head, and that's it. That'll be.
Captain RGD asks, "How many shuttles did Enterprise have?" I think it was 3. Probably more, I think
Galley. There was one of them actually was NCC 1701-7. I think one of the
so
shuttles.
Like that suggests there's 6 before it, right?
Yeah, you would have thought so. If 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The shuttle bay is larger than what we see on screen, I think.
Yeah.
When you look at the schematics, I could see how.
I think you get more of an idea of the different shuttles that they use in TAS. You see different types of shuttles in the animated series than you do in the original series.
Very true, very true. Which one of you gents would like to do the mirror summary?
I hate doing it.
You hate doing the summaries? Robbie, are you up for it? I'll do the summary. I got it. All right, here we go. So the Enterprise is on a routine mission. They're attempting to broker a trade with the Halkins, this like really interesting and kind of benevolent species that happen to be sitting on a gold mine of dilithium. A gold mine, a dilithium mine of dilithium, I guess. And it's their. They tend to be very careful with how they who they agree to let have their precious resource. And so the Halkins are really surprised when Captain Kirk's like, well, we would never force you to do it. So I think that bodes well for them. But then as they're being transported back up, there's an ion storm that corresponds. And then we have our transporter accident, which often leads to interesting things. And this time it leads to the crew materializing with some really wild and crazy sleeveless outfits. Well, actually, only Kirk's is sleeveless. Everyone else has like sleeves. There we go. There's Spock's, and a crazy world where everyone seems to be very theatrical and kind of, just dark and mean, actually. And so they quickly kind of play along at first to try to not, they're confused, but they're playing along. They quickly realize something's awry. I mean, I guess they've had like so many weird situations already. A parallel universe is going to be like, nothing too weird.
A walk in the park. Just a walk in the park.
Totally. And start to assess the situation. And the first thing they do, which I really love, is they decide to save the Halkins, because in this mirror or parallel universe, the Halkins also choose not to share the dilithium, but the solution is to just obliterate the planet and kill all the Halkins and take the dilithium anyways. So they're able to do that by sabotaging the Enterprise's phasers and systems, and fortunately the group that came over happened to be really important personnel, I guess, in a way, because you have the captain, so they're able to kind of get away with a lot. You have the chief medical officer, you have the engineer, and the communications officer. So they're pretty well set up for success for at least for a little while, until Spock gets his way or starts getting his way. But yeah, so they're able to stall on the Halkins destruction, and we find that we start discovering more about the mirror universe. We discover that there's no Federation; it's actually an empire. The empire is very iron clad and barbaric and warrior-like, and literally everyone tries to kill Captain Kirk to get promoted, because that's the only way you can get promoted, apparently. So first we start off with Chekhov trying to kill him, right? Chekhov's the first one who tries.
Yep.
Then, of course, we have Spock trying to kill him. We meet Marlena, who's an interesting character. She's kind of like a, I don't know, I guess you could call her a consort of sorts to the captain.
The captain's woman.
The captain's woman.
She says it herself. She likes being the captain's woman.
But she's very devious too. We get introduced to the Tantalus field. We find out how the Mirror Kirk, managed to be so powerful. And it is interesting to see that Mirror Kirk is just as kind of like prominent in the Mirror universe as our Kirk is, but for entirely different reasons. And then we actually flash back and see scenes of the Mirror guys, their Mirror counterparts in the universe that we're familiar with, also known as the Prime Universe. I hate saying the Prime Universe, but whatever. So we see them, and they're just bonkers and going crazy, and he's trying to offer Spock lots and lots of money to let him out and stuff like that. They have no idea where they are. Anyways, it all culminates with a plan to get back. Scotty and I think Scotty figures out that there's a window where they can get back to their own reality universe. Or their own universe. And so they have the clock is ticking and they have very little time, but it's like very difficult right up to the last minute. There's like fights. There's another attempt by Sulu. There's like people getting killed by Tantalus fields. And then Spock himself is injured badly and needs to be saved. And so McCoy even offers to stay behind. And just at the last minute, we think Spock is going to betray them and prevent them from doing it. But he's so moved by the fact that they tried to save him that he decides to let them go. But it's also self-serving, because he really wants his captain back, because he's tired of all these emotional, nice people. He wants to go back to killing the Halkins and just everything being the way it is. But Kirk makes an impassioned speech to his appealing to his logic, insulting him a little bit, but appealing to his logic. And that's it. We beam back over, and there's a funny moment at the end with Spock insulting humanity, and everyone has a laugh. There we go. Did I do a good job? Was that a good summary?
That was a good summary.
Yeah, it's a good summary.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. There, the summary's over. Let's talk about it. What did you guys think?
I've always enjoyed this episode. There's just something about this episode that I really do like. I think it's also. I think I don't know whether they thought about it. It's the one, the one where Kirk gets split into two. You've got the
Oh,
the, the
Devil in the
enemy,
Dark.
or
The enemy
is it
Enemy
within.
Within.
enemy within. I don't know whether they wanted to expand on that from season one, but make it into a universe and sort of
That's
give
a
us
really good point.
yeah. So it's I find it an extension from that. Obviously, it created a whole universe in its own right, because we saw it again we never saw it in TNG, but we saw it in Deep Space Nine. We saw it in Enterprise, and I think we saw elements in Voyager, but not so much. But obviously, Discovery really did go with it on there. So I like it, and I like Spock's beard.
Very cool, very cool. Can you show your Mego collection?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
This
cool.
is obviously Mego have done a number of Star Trek dolls, and this is the Mirror Mirror kit.
It's very beautiful.
You get Kirk, you get Spock in the bits there. So yes, Spock does have a beard, and Kirk is in the gold.
I should have worn a sash for this.
You should have.
And I have one too.
I'm actually looking at the moment, because, as probably many of you know, I'm going on the cruise again next year.
Yes.
And there is a Mirror Mirror night.
Oh, nice.
There is a Mirror Mirror night, and I did a very poor attempt a couple of years ago, but I've seen somebody who does the TNG Mirror Universe uniforms from the comics. And I'll be getting that, and I'll be doing a Riker.
Oh, very cool! Can't wait to see.
It'll be the scar. It will be the gauntlets, and it comes with a sash. It doesn't come with a gold sash. It comes with a red sash. But I will be doing that next year. So if anybody sees this on the cruise, I will see you there.
It's interesting. So Voyager and TNG are the only two Star Trek shows that didn't have a mirror thing. Yeah. I guess Picard also, right? Because Picard.
Yeah, no, Picard's not done it. Yeah,
I think Lower Decks should do it. I hope Lower Decks does it.
I would like to see a funny Lower Decks. I really would like to see a funny mirror universe. Yeah, that would be it would be funny. That's a silly thing to say, but yeah, I think they would really. I think Mike McMahon would really give it. I think you'd probably find a little bit more of the Rick and Morty humor coming into that one, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
The Terrans were unpleasant, says Mirror Spock is the hottest of all Spocks. Sorry, Ethan. That's funny. He's very hot, I agree. Okay, Trekkie, what did you think of this episode?
I really enjoyed it, especially after watching In a Mirror Darkly with you, the Enterprise Mirror Universe two-parter, which they obviously go over to they board the Enterprise, the Constitution class Enterprise, and it also reminded me.
It was actually the Defiant, right?
Defiant.
Defiant. Yeah.
And it also reminded me of two stories. One of them Star Trek, one of them isn't. Kind of all of the alternative factor, although infinitely better. Just an idea. And also the classic Who story Inferno, where the Doctor goes over to a mirror universe, and the Brigadier has an eye patch on, and they're all evil. Really.
Which Doctor? Which Doctor was that?
Third Doctor.
The third Doctor.
The third.
Okay, cool.
John Pertwee.
Pertwee, yeah.
My Doctor.
That's awesome. He's a good doctor. That's a great doctor. Yeah. That says a lot. Who your doctor is says a lot about you.
I don't know if you've seen this. Just a quick sorry everybody. I know we're meant to be Star Trek, but
yes.
Have you seen the Doctor Who joke? How many Doctor Who fans does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
1 million. One to change the light bulb, and 999,999 to turn around and say, They like the light bulb, but it's not quite as good as the one they had when they were younger.
That's a that's a very interesting joke.
Sorry, we'll
like
go
it.
back to Star Trek now. But yeah.
I'm trying to decide which is my favorite mirror episode. I'll save it for the end, but that's a question to think about, everyone in the audience. From all the Star Trek series, which is your favorite mirror?
I think for this one, this is also, they don't change the registry. This still says NCC, where in others it's ICC.
ICC.
So in
or
Mirror,
IS,
it's
is it ISS?
NCC.
ICC. You're right.
The Defiant in A Mirror Darkly's ICC. In all other ones, it's
good catch.
They do. I mean, they do change the Warp Cell Bazaar collectors back to the spikes on the end, but they still keep it. They still have it as NCC 1701.
Interesting. Mirror Sarek versus Mirror Spock. Who rocked the goatee? But Mirror Sarek's goatee was pretty good though. But yeah, Spock still rocked it better.
Spock's the original. Spock's beard. It's even got a band named after it. Come on, it's got to be Spock's beard.
Cool. Stress Free K says, I'm on the go as usual nowadays, but did anyone else notice Emperor SFB use a Kirkism pronunciation of sabotage? It is the correct way to say sabotage. Actually, in my opinion, I think everyone should say sabotage instead of sabotage.
We've spoke on this on numerous occasions.
I know. I'm just provoking it this way.
What did I say to you earlier? Don't F with me, boy.
This really is the mirror. This really is the mirror episode of Starfleet Boy.
You become more Terran by the second.
Yeah, we got to get you on. We got to get you on Starfleet Boy After Dark. After all, Daniel Ceo's here from Chicago. Hail to you! Oh, that's right. Hail to you! Oh, we should be careful what we do. We got to be really careful. Father gets really upset when I do the hail thing because it looks too much like the Nazi salute.
Well, yeah,
he's like, "Don't do it." He's like, "Don't do it."
Make sure people can see that first.
It's true.
That looks more Roman.
But it's nice to have you here, Daniel. It's good to see you, and you're in Chicago, which means we'll definitely meet you, I'm sure. When we all go to Chicago to the Star Trek mission, right? Are you gonna come to Chicago, TCCC? You think?
What's this? I don't know about this.
Did you see Star Trek First Contact Day? All the news. There's an official Star Trek convention called Star Trek Mission, and the first city they're doing it in is Chicago, and it's gonna replace, I guess, STLV.
I was about to say, is this replacing STLV?
Yep.
It will be. I think next year is my last cruise. My aim now is to go to. If it's going to be this Star Trek mission, this is the bit that I am planning to do in the future.
Excellent. Yeah. Then maybe you'll get to them because it's right after this cruise. So I don't know if you'll be able to.
No, I think that will be a bit too close. Yeah.
I wonder what city next time the second city will be. Will be fun to find out. What did you guys think of the differences in the mirror universe versus how they did it? Even the computer, for example,
or the strong
was a male voice. Yep.
Yeah. I to be honest, I think that the changes were quite subtle. I think the bar the Terran Empire emblems on the walls and on the doors, pretty much everything was they didn't have the money to change too much. So, but yeah, it was fairly subtle. I liked it. I think it was. I don't think you do need to change it. I think it's the first concept of what we know as the multiverse. We've had plenty of stories now which say about the multiverse, but I think Star Trek was one of the earliest ones that did it. I like it. I do like the changes. Yeah, it's just there's not much about this. There's just not much about this episode I don't like.
In
Yeah.
fact, they even say in the episode they use the term parallel universe, and like things like that. So yeah, these are all cool concepts that science was kind of presenting, and then science fiction would translate it into a neat way. And I think that like Star Trek got it right in terms of, of course it's dramatic, and it's it's very, sort of perfect that everyone should be the evil version of themselves for these actors to be able to take a stab at playing these these like opposite versions of themselves. But at the same time, like now it's pretty much it's a very popular theory that the multiverse is what is actually happening out there in the real cosmos.
It's a shame, really, with this one we don't get to see Evil Kirk again. I like Evil Kirk. I think Shatner does a really good Evil Kirk. As I said, we've seen it with The Enemy Within, and I think I would have liked to have seen that again a bit more.
I would definitely have liked to have seen more of this. I didn't have a chance to do research, but I'm fairly certain there's a lot of apocrypha that deals with the events, with further adventures of the Mirror guys, because it would be interesting to find out what happens when Kirk gets back. We get a hint of it in Deep Space Nine, right? Like, so
yeah, they do. Yeah, because that obviously you get the splinter bit because you've got the oh blimey, I can't remember. It's not the Coalition, but it's the with the Bajorans,
the Cardassians and the Bajorans, right?
All that stuff. Yeah. So it is.
So Spock was not
I think Spock does kill Kirk or whatever, and then it
becomes the Emperor, right?
Yeah, and changes the Terran Empire, and it's definitely explored more in Deep Space Nine than we see anywhere else.
It's interesting. This is probably like, several years after the events of Star Trek Discovery. So I kind of wish it would be cool to kind of get a connection somehow, a more of a connection from Discovery to TOS. But it would be interesting to know like who the Emperor is and like how they succeeded Giorgio and all that kind of stuff. Like, and see it on screen, like maybe in a short treks or something like that.
Yeah, from Hoshi through.
Right, Hoshi's the Emperor so the Emperor for a while, and then and then 100 years later we know it's Giorgio, and then we don't know who the Emperor is in this episode. They just simply
is it a female Emperor or is it a male Emperor?
Exactly, or anything about it. So it is interesting. I would like to have met the Emperor. Then I would like to meet the new Emperor. It'd be cool
with the new clothes.
I wanted to talk also about when Bones asks, "What kind of people are we in this universe?" and they look up for Captain Kirk. There's an interesting parallel between that scene and in Enterprise, which is, I've just seen it recently with Robbie, so it's fresh in the mind. But there's an interesting thing where when they get aboard the Defiant, Mirror Archer looks himself up in the real world, not the real world, like you're saying that. Sorry, it's so rude.
In our world, yeah,
in our world, and it's not our world either, but the Prime timeline. I hate saying it, the Prime universe.
Sorry, I'm being called upon.
Okay.
Hi, Robbie.
Are you coming back? Oh, we don't know if he's coming back. Maybe he's coming back. He's being summoned. We'll hide Robbie for a second. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So yeah,
Archer seeing what his prime timeline
and being disgusted by it. And I like how Kirk was disgusted by his. He was like, "That's enough of that." It's pretty cool, and it's crazy.
They did show sort of some parallels, because McCoy, when they're in the sick bay, he said there are some similarities. That burn, I remember doing that with acid. Oh, he's back. That was quick. He said about the burn on the worktop that he'd done it a year before with acid.
So that's right.
There were some parallels.
There are things that happen very. It's like what you were saying. Like things pretty much flow in a very similar fashion, even with these, like glaring kind of face value differences.
Well, it had to be honest. Otherwise, it would have been very odd to. Well, I don't know. Would it have been odd, or would it have been quite interesting to see Prime Kirk against Terran Kirk?
Prime Kirk would win.
He's Kirk Fu would win.
Yeah, I mean, did you see how quickly he dispatched Sulu?
Oh, of course.
Well,
Well, I mean,
like right on
you say that though, wasn't it? He knocked one guy out with one punch, didn't he?
Yeah,
after the Chekhov, after Chekhov tried to do that, and he said, "Oh, you're going to give me a commission?" And he went, "Poof, not on my ship."
My dad was just saying that James Cromwell was in the film he was watching.
Oh, what film is it?
I think it's Surrogates. I've never seen it before. I don't know.
Is that's with Bruce Willis, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
About people having like remote controlled bodies. Yeah. They sit in these chairs all day, and then these like avatars run around. It's kind of interesting. Whatever. Yeah. Daniel says, "I love this episode. It's one of the greatest Star Treks in rare form. The writing really covers every area, and seeing Kirk and company encounter the evil Terran Empire is just so much fun." Agreed.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it is a well-written episode. It doesn't leave many stones unturned. I don't think on this one.
And the writer that wrote this, who knows if he was still alive when the Mirror Universe was introduced again, but he inspired so many more stories with that concept. I think for me, some of the best performances were from George. Is it George Takei or George Takei? Takei.
Takei, I think, yeah.
And Nichelle Nichols. And I don't want to be rude, but I'd say Leonard Nimoy was actually maybe one of my least favorite in this episode. Normally Leonard Nimoy is top of the books for me in his performances, but I think in this episode he wasn't bad, but I just think other people stole the screen a bit more.
Well, Spock wasn't much different, was he?
Yeah.
But they do say that in at the end, where they say that how there wasn't that much difference between the two, and how the logical mind fits both the Terran and the Prime timeline. But yeah, no, Takei and Uhura do that bit. The two scenes on the bridge.
Yeah, super good.
Are really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone was really on fire as their mirror counterparts in this. But yeah, that was a standout thing. Uhura did Nichelle Nichols did such a great job as Uhura, and when she cuts it, when she like slashes at him and
slaps him across the face.
Yeah, exactly. It was super good.
Yeah, but they had to be very clever with the way they filmed this. Back in the 60s, they were not happy about showing the belly button back in the 60s, and they actually were saying that the sash would cover the middle. And they did that, and then once they got past the people that were saying, "Oh, you can't do this, do that," and they went, "Okay, put it back, let's film it, let's ask for forgiveness instead of permission," and all that stuff. But they did have some issues trying to get this one filmed because you could see Nichelle Nichols' midriff.
That's ridiculous.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
That is really crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
But of course, Enterprise has all the women wearing these like crazy versions of the of the Trek outfit. It's like,
well, especially Elena when she comes back, when she gets trained, and she's just got this very see-through thing, and then you just got the bit covering. Just covering the bits,
so to speak. By the way, Marlena is played by Barbara Luna, who's a great actor. She was performing since she was a little girl on Broadway, and we see her. Well, she says I saw an interview with her where she says this was like the thing she's like loved the best. But did you guys know that the kiss scene between she and Kirk had to be delayed because she caught strep throat and she was out of commission. So that's an interesting thing that I didn't realize.
Well, it was also meant to be between her and Spock as well. And Shatner didn't like that, and he changed it.
Is that right? Shatner was like, "Oh yeah, it must have been he was inhabiting his mirror."
Yeah.
He's a method actor, and he was inhabiting his mirror self, and he denied Spock the kiss. That's terrible.
Yeah. Screw Leonard, I want the kiss. Yeah.
Spock's beard won.
We get some comments here. Let's see. Clearly, Disco season 3 with Giorgio surprising returns to the Mirror Universe thanks to the Guardian of Forever is definitely best mirror ever. Wow, cool. I don't know if I agree, but it's pretty up there.
I struggle with some of them. I think they tend to use the Mirror Universe a bit as a crutch now. I think they use it too much. Having the one-off and Enterprise, they did it really, really well. It was a 2-parter. That was good. I think they just
Enterprise's Mirror episodes are phenomenal. I really love them. I was surprised. I didn't expect, because I kind of also I could take or leave after this. I guess I could normally take or leave Mirror stuff because I'm like, whatever. But this is a fun episode, and the Enterprise one was a really, really fun episode. I have to rewatch the DS9, the DS9's foray into the Mirror Universe, but because it's been too long since I've seen that one. But yeah.
Well, Nana Visitor really makes those ones.
Yeah, as the intendant.
If it wasn't for her, I don't think it would be good. I think she does camp very well. She does do camp very well, and she's a lovely person anyway. So yeah,
I think of the Discovery Mirror Universe episodes, though, that one is my favorite. The Guardian the Guardian one of the Discovery Mirror Universe episodes.
Yeah, I think Michelle Yeoh was great in that 2-parter. She was on fire. And probably because she knew that would be her last episode for quite some time.
For some time. I hope we see her again much sooner. I hope we see her in Strange New Worlds.
I got a sneaking suspicion the new film will be with her.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Because they've scrapped it. Well, they haven't scrapped it. They've put the Section 31 TV series on hold. They've got the concept already. Just make it a film. Why not?
That would be very cool, actually. I'd like to. That would be really interesting if, Michelle Yeoh was back in time. A whole film about that would be very creative.
Indeed.
I mean,
she's great on the big screen. Michelle Yeoh.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, she's a huge film. She's known for her films more than TV
performances.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, all those type of things. She's been on a huge array of films anyway. So you've got it there already. Having her back in a Star Trek film, I think would be a good way to go. That's my take on it, and I wouldn't be, and it would be different. I'm sorry, but I don't want a Deep Space Nine. I don't want a Voyager. We've done that. We're revisiting it in a bit with Picard. Get over yourselves, everybody. Let's have something new.
Wait, what do you mean? Like going back to
people are saying about the new films. They're saying,
going back
should it be TNG? Should it be Voyager? Should it be this? We've had TNG, we've had Voyager, we've had Deep Space Nine. Let's just have something new. Star Trek's always looking for new. We've got Picard, and that is revisiting. We're going to have Voyager characters. With obviously Seven's on there already.
We'll have more Deep Space Nine characters.
We're looking at Deep Space Nine characters. Let's just try something new, and I think the Section 31 would be a good premise to be a film.
Very cool. I always get the impression that the powers that be always try to make the Star Trek films a good Star Trek film, but also a way to get more people into Star Trek. So I think that would be cool if done correctly. It could get a whole bunch of new fans interested in Star Trek. So yeah, I'm down for it. But there's that. I am a TNG nut, and I'm looking for that film where all the TNG cast sign their names, just like Star Trek 6 did for the TOS cast. So I wouldn't be upset if we got a proper farewell on screen to that era of Star Trek either. I'm just saying.
Well, you know what? I think we're going to see a lot of him in Picard. I think with
Picard's
Q now being on there, we all believe it's going to be a time travel series. I think we're really going to get it there. So.
Yeah, time travel or something, some mechanism that'll bring us to a lot of places in the Star Trek universe of that era. There's a reason that Mirror Universe episodes are always very popular. This episode establishes the reason why. It's just so fun to watch how our favorite characters would act if they were evil. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
It is true. As I said, it would have been nice to see the Kirk, and you see him very, very briefly, but it would have been nice to see the Mirror Kirk a bit more. But you can't have it both ways, or can you? I don't know.
Just like in the Enterprise episode when Archer had like a voice in his head, and obviously Scott Bakula had to play against himself, and then I imagine
that's true.
That would be really cool if Shatner had a scene similar to that. If an evil Shatner was talking to Prime Kirk, Shatner, or even Kirk Fuhr, that would be quite amazing. But I think they'd probably struggle to do that back in the 60s.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
TNG and Voyager had Mirror Universe comic books and novels. It's true. And the TNG ones, the comic books look pretty cool. I haven't read them.
Oh, they are. I've got them. I've
cool.
got them. Cool. I've read them. The TNG ones they are very, very cool, and I think they should stay in comics. But yeah, they are very good. That's, as I said, that's when I go on the cruise. It's going to be from the comic book.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see your cosplay. Was this the first use of your double having an evil goatee? I'm trying to think. Was there something else, like a popular film, or I could only imagine the Twilight Zone doing something. Yeah, I think Star Trek, maybe this is the first time. But then every time you have a parallel universe, there's always like a goatee, right? Why do goatees have such a bad rap as making you evil? I wonder why. Something about it.
Idea. Maybe it goes back to Fu Manchu or something like that. I don't know.
I feel like, something about a goatee. I don't know. I like goatees. I don't think they make people look evil. I think
many years ago, I had a goatee. I did have a goatee many years ago.
I tried to do a goatee. It didn't work for me. It did make me look evil, actually. So I stopped wearing a goatee.
You could never look evil.
Thank you,
Rob. I have to agree, Robbie. You're too soft. You couldn't be either.
I'll prove it. Darn it. Geek and Review. We need a Whovian to tell us. Oh, the Master. The Master. The Master.
But Star Trek was
that was the goatee. It's true.
What? Yeah, that's an interesting one. You say about the Master. When did the Master first appear in Doctor Who?
I think he was black and white when he first appeared.
Doctor.
It was their Doctor.
So that would have been on there.
The third Doctor. So it was a lot later.
So yeah, that was in the 70s then.
No, the 70s even.
Yeah. So that would have been later than. So Star Trek was the first one really to really bring in.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's true. Terror of the Autons, which was 1971. Apparently, was the first appearance of the Master. I did not know. Why did I think he was like even further back? That's crazy.
Well, Doctor Who's been going a long, long time. We all know that.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
Yeah.
All right, so then that Star Trek still owns it. Geek and Review. Star Trek has the oldest evil goatee.
Yeah, you think about it. How many firsts has Star Trek actually done? In the 50-something odd years that we've had Star Trek. TOS. As much as people. A lot of people say TOS is not their Star Trek, which is fair. It's a fair bit. It's when people's Star Trek is normally the Star Trek that you see. It's how you are introduced to the universe in itself. with all its quirks and its their Star Trek TOS brought an awful lot to us that we identify with today. It really did. They had a fantastic array of writers, actors,
100%,
directors, everything else. As much as they turn around and say Gene was the master of it all, no, it was a team effort. I know he took a lot of the plaudits, which was a little bit unfair, but DC Fontana, all these people who are fantastic writers in their own bit, created this sci-fi series that we all love, and we wouldn't be here. The three of us wouldn't be here talking about it now if it wasn't for that.
We might be talking about something else. Who knows? What would we talk about?
Yeah, we could be talking.
You're 100% right. No, this is a singular, unique situation that has brought us together, and it is Star Trek. And I agree with you 100%. I think it's okay to have. I think it's okay to have a different. Like I used to be very like hardcore about like, oh, you must have this experience of Star Trek and this experience of Star Trek and that experience of Star Trek. But what I've come to learn is that ultimately there's a huge story now. Like Star Trek's no longer just TOS. There's like a big story that Star Trek's telling, and it's one of the greatest stories being told in my opinion. I mean, I'm a little biased, right? But it is truly the great. At one point, I think TOS, it might have been fair to say it was an American story, but now it's a world story. Like Star Trek has evolved like so much from that. And so it is okay. And I can see why people would find TOS as like perhaps dated or problematic, but because I grew up on it, I have a certain nostalgia for it. And rewatching it with you guys, like I actually do see that, aside from the nostalgia, there is a lot of merit in TOS, and there's so many, like what you said, there's so many great lessons and things like that, and also the people who poured their sweat and tears and all that stuff into it to help make it what it is a great story that needs to be told and learned. It's cool.
I think what gets me is, sorry, Robbie, go on. You go first. You go first.
For me, even if TOS had been bad, which it isn't, it's important to go back to the roots of a big story like Star Trek, even if it wasn't a big story, maybe 2 or 3 shows. I think it's important to see the roots of that, and it's just a shame that the more I hear about Gene Roddenberry, the more I think he was like a Ferengi. And
I think that's quite a good,
instead of the great bird, you're saying he's the great the Grand Nagus. Is that?
Yeah, he's more the Grand Nagus than the great bird. Yeah, definitely.
Geek in Review says we need Whovians to tell. That's not Geek in Review. Sorry, I meant to click this one. Here we go. Why does no one ever visit a parallel dimension that's better than ours? It's always worse. That's a really good question. I wonder because it'd probably be pretty condescending or maybe even like a little boring to just see like a perfect parallel universe. I don't know.
I'd actually quite like a twist that if we went to the parallel universe, we would be the evil ones.
Right, it's true.
I would quite, that would be there.
If humans keep making some of the choices that we're making, it might just be that we are when we do cross to the parallel universe, they'll look at us as barbarians and think of us as the Terran Empire. So we are risking that. there is that risk.
I think one quick thing I just wanted to say before Rob, I interrupted Robbie, was going back to what we were saying about Star Trek. It amazes me, even with stories of TOS, how relevant they still are today.
Yeah,
I think if people were to give it a chance and not discount it so much as the '60s program, and
they're not the focus of this story, but the Halkins and their whole thing of the whole thing of this resource that you need and taking it away from people who have established their lands somewhere, so that it's a very similar parallel to how we sometimes oil mining and things like that in native lands, oil mining.
I think it was a nice bit to say that they would rather die than allow You know,
Yeah, that was
they would rather die themselves than to allow the dilithium crystals to be used to kill somebody.
yeah.
That would be so they were a force for peace
They were an
in
interesting
both universes
in
as
both
well.
universes. I wish we'd gotten to see them more. You guys make it show for a second now. I'm being summoned. I'll be right back.
What did you what did you think to the Halkans? Did you just think they were weak? Did you think you liked what they stood for?
If they had been aggressive or just like the mirror universe people, then I don't think that would be very creative.
No.
So I really liked that they were, a kind of pacifist race species.
Yeah.
It's important to keep things different for me. And I do wish we'd seen the Halkans more, even in a one-off story.
Yeah,
it would have been nice. Yeah, it would have been nice, and it would be interesting to see if the Halkans ever did allow anybody to take the dilithium, or they were that adamant that they weren't going to allow anybody to.
I have a feeling Kirk made a good impression on them, and later on, if at least by TNG, the Halkans were providing dilithium to the Federation. I hope.
Yeah, so. I think if anybody should have revisited after Kirk, it should have been Picard.
Picard, yeah, I agree. It would have been very cool.
Because obviously he was very much for peace. It was that was who Picard was. Violence was always his last resort, and he was very logical. He was very
diplomatic.
He was a peaceful man,
a peacemaker.
He was a peacemaker. He was a peaceful man. He wanted, he stood up for the little guy.
Except the Romulans, until he did. Well, he was very suspicious.
Yeah, but the Romulans were never the little guy, were they?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And when they were, is when he helped them. In TNG, he was very suspicious of the Romulans. When Sean and I were rewatching TNG, there's a lot of throwaway lines of like, oh, it must have been the Romulans, like whatever. It's funny. Yeah. I remember a series of DC comics in the 80s that were a sequel to this episode where Mirror, Kirk, and Spock end up finding their way to the Prime Universe and start terrorizing Admiral Kirk and crew. Oh, wow. Got to check that out. A brief history of the Mirror Universe would make for an interesting short trek that fills in the history between Empress Sato on up to Giorgio. I agree. I would say it would be cool to even go as far as like what I was saying earlier to find out who the Emperor would have been during the Terran Empire. In this episode, it would have been cool.
Yeah.
Marlena did not maneuver to be the captain herself because 60s, right? They did do that kind of correction in Enterprise, and we get Emperor Sato.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Well, they had that stupid rule into. This was a very stupid rule that a woman couldn't be a captain, which is,
talking about representation, though. Interestingly, Barbara Luna is. Let me see if I can remember this correctly. Her heritage is Italian, Hungarian, and Filipino. Oh, and Portuguese. So those are. It's quite right, isn't it interesting? Yeah, so that's a crazy thing too, and I was trying to figure out the actress. She's gorgeous, but she has very exotic features in my opinion, and I was trying to figure out is there one, and I couldn't think of one perhaps region of Earth that she could have been from, so it explains a lot that she has that nice mix and stuff like that. And
I think she portrayed the best of all the different elements of
her heritage. It's interesting. Her genetic heritage, her features were very beautiful. So and it just goes to show that it's really good to mix it up. So everyone travel and mix it up. That's the Starfleet Point directive.
Join the Navy and just have a woman in every port. I know.
Or a man, or anything if you don't identify with those genders too.
Thankfully, I'm too old to be a dad now, so that's never going to happen.
You're saying you're too old to be a dad?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Old dads are the best dads.
No, I don't want to be. God, could you imagine taking a kid to school? Oh, is that your grandfather? No, that's my dad. Wouldn't want that. Wouldn't want that at all. No, I'd rather be the grandfather taking the kids to school. No, but yeah.
I also got to give a shout out to Uhura's role in this episode. Nichelle really shows her prowess. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. It's true.
Yeah, she is one of the highlights, as I think Robbie was saying as well. You know, George Takei and Nichelle Nichols really were the highlights, and the scenes on the bridge are the two. Sorry, they are pretty much the two best scenes. You know, I get bored, you come back.
And yeah, it's true. Walter Koenig also gets a chance to like really ham it up and shine in his attempt.
While the cat's away.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize this. Barbara Luna. It's two capital B's.
Barbara.
Barbara but it's still Barbara, I think. But Barbara,
yeah. But,
she does today. She does like to only be known as Luna, which is cool. So she goes by Luna. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went on a rabbit hole about Barbara Luna, but I did. It's like that was the one thing I got to research.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was the only person that was not from the major cast, wasn't she? Really? Yes, you had a couple of little bits either side, but she was there, and all of a sudden, you also see at the very end of the episode, you see
Lieutenant Marlena Moreau, who we never see again, right? That's it. It's so terrible. I hate that.
and there is that little bit of Star Trek humor with Kirk and Spock, and Kirk saying, I think we could be friends. I don't know her. I've never met her, but I think we could be friends. And Spock doing that, look that he does is to say, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're talking rubbish, sir. Yeah, it's one of those things.
It is. Yeah, it is funny. But I think they probably could have gotten along. Who knows what's going on? Something in the chats.
So Daniel's just saying, he's just said TCC. That happens to me when I take my son to school.
Oh no!
My son tells me I'm old.
I feel like if I have a kid, by the time they're Robbie's age, I will probably look like a normal dad, because people say when I shave, I look younger than my actual age. So who knows? But I wouldn't mind being an old dad. I think old dads are cool. I have a friend whose dad was old and he was really chill. You're right though. It is you're definitely like in grandparent world in terms of your status in life. So it is a different kind of dad. But also George Takei lent his name to the LGBT rights movement in a video about schools banning the word gay, saying, so anytime you need to say gay, you can say Takei. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. So Takei, that's how you remember how to say his name. Oh, that's a good way to remember it. Very cool. Yeah. I didn't know that story about George Takei.
There's lots of stories with George Takei.
Yes, yes, this is true.
And he is a great storyteller. He was on one of the cruises, and he tells fantastic stories.
He is awesome. George Takei is such a powerful voice for the LGBT community. Thanks for the video. Oh, there's a video link. I haven't seen it in my private thing here. I'll try to see it later. If someone could post it in the actual comments too, that would be awesome.
Yeah, for everybody to see. Yeah, if anybody knows. Yeah. Kate, put it in.
I don't know how YouTube works. It's kind of weird. Sometimes it blocks links, and I'm not sure why it does that. But yeah, I'd like to see it.
Unless it's another YouTube video, then it does tend to allow it.
Darren says a TNG farewell movie would cost minimum of 400. I'm down. Paramount is stuck on 200 million. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I think like we just raised, what is it, $1 million? Fans just raised $1 million for the Voyager documentary.
Is the most funded, crowd-funded documentary ever. They have broken the records on the Journey, isn't it? It's called The Journey.
Yeah.
I must admit, I backed it.
Excellent.
I'm.
Did you get a mug? Did you get it like a Janeway? Is that what they're giving? Like the
I can't remember which one I did, but I think
cool.
I backed about $40. I did
Very,
about
very cool. Very
30,
cool.
$35, $40. So yeah, I was going to back it. As I said, my opinion on Voyager has changed as recently. So yeah, I'm pleased to say that I am one of the backers for
Excellent.
I don't think I'm ever going to like Voyager, but I will enjoy. I'm sure I'll enjoy the documentary because
I will actually challenge you, Robbie. Challenge you. You can either read it or you can listen to the Janeway autobiography. And this is what changed my opinion. Listen or read the Janeway autobiography, and it will give you a better perspective on Voyager.
I might enjoy the autobiography because I do love the characters in Voyager. It's just generally the stories feel a bit repetitive to me, but I love the characters and I'm excited for Prodigy, and I'll have to check out that autobiography. And I'm just so happy that we're getting another documentary because What We Leave Behind was an amazing documentary, and I'm sure they had a lot less money than they have for the Voyager one now.
Oh, cool. Thanks for reposting the link, Stress Free K. I'm opening it up. I don't think we can show it on this, but I will watch this later. So that's very, very cool. And then let's see. Stress Free K says Marvel Comics secured the publishing rights in the 90s and IDW currently publishes the comics and have done for since 2006 for Star Trek. I didn't realize that. That's cool. You can get those digitally. That's very cool.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot. I have the what's the app? I'll tell you then. Do I have it? Comixology app, very cool. You can get a lot of the IDW comics on that there.
Just a couple of things. The fight scene. What did you guys think of that fight scene? It was pretty epic in sickbay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I think Spock would have kicked all their asses. Vulcans are an awful lot stronger, and he would have got there. But it was epic, and obviously McCoy does the ultimate sacrifice in trying saving Spock, to which he gets mind melded to Spock finds everything out.
That's true. It's interesting in Enterprise, the Vulcans are kind of like a lower caste in the Terran Empire, and by this time it looks like that's no longer the case. Like Spock seems pretty equal, although he has his own Vulcan guard. I don't know. It's interesting. Like it was different. It was a different dynamic. In 100 years, a lot can happen, though. We certainly get the seeds of that in the Enterprise mirror when people start getting start seeing what the records say about the prime, the prime universe, and Dr. Phlox has that brilliant scene of like, I think he should be careful who he lets see all these records because it can inspire the wrong kind of thinking. So go ahead, sorry.
That's one thing I was a bit disappointed about in Enterprise. You were saying that Spock is obviously stronger because he's a Vulcan, whereas in Enterprise, T'Pol's a Vulcan, or unless she was going to be a Romulan or anything. So she should have been stronger than Archer and the Enterprise crew, but she didn't really fight her way out of any situations. It was mostly just Archer or mostly Archer or Reed or Trip, especially in the Kirshara 3-part story.
Well, there are some other ways. They don't show off her super strength that I can recall. I'm sure they did at some point have her like just tear away a doorknob or something. I don't know, but in that episode, you do get the impression that Vulcans are more robust than humans because she doesn't need water like for 4 days or something like that in the desert, and all kinds of other things. So yeah, it is interesting though. You're right. That T'Pol isn't portrayed with more super strength like Spock has, so it's true. I mean, he can just bend metal, right? Like he does in he can crush that metal monitor with like ease. It seemed like he wasn't very like, hurt by doing that. So yeah, it's interesting. Good point. What about the Tantalus field? What did you guys think of that?
Yeah, it was good for the episode. I think it was good. And then didn't
It evened the odds at the end. With
even the
Sulu,
odds. And if I remember rightly, there was a visual representation in Discovery of the Tantalus field, if I remember rightly. It didn't get used, but I think if it was one of the Easter eggs, if you watch, I think it was on the season 3 that there was a visual Easter egg for the Tantalus field in Discovery.
And it's in Enterprise, isn't it? Am I mistaken on that?
I'm not sure. I can't remember, but there is the that there. But we're saying about quickly.
Oh no, it's Discovery. You're absolutely 1,000% right. It is Discovery.
If you want to put that,
what's that?
Let's
move
that away. If you look there, this is the IDW.
Oh, look at
comics.
that! That's going to be your costume. That's so cool.
That's the costume, yeah. So this is obviously 2, so you can get the mirror. This is mirror broken. Oh, it's gone. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. Mirror broken there.
Very cool.
So you get that. If you notice, they still have the same type of daggers that they use in TOS. And
I mean, it's on their whole emblem. Yeah, it's true. And it looks like the Terran Empire.
Yeah, so you got Data, you got Troy.
Is he part Borg, Data?
Yeah, he's part Borg.
Oh, wow.
On this bit. And you've got Geordi there.
Super fun. Bit.
So yeah, so that is put that on. That's so those, as I said, that's on the Comixology app. You can get the IDW mirror ones. And if I remember rightly, I think I've got the Voyager comics as well.
I like those. Sorry, I like those uniforms a lot.
Yeah, they're very cool.
They're really, really cool. So I've seen somebody who makes it, so I'm gonna get one.
Get one. What do you guys think of the logic speech that Kirk gives to Spock at the end to mirror Spock?
Well, this just goes with Kirk. Kirk can speak logically. Kirk can out-compute computers. He tends to screw computers up where they...
It's a special power. He doesn't need super strength.
Yeah, he doesn't need super strength. He can out-logic Vulcans and out-compute computers. He really... It is one of those bits. And, I think it's well done. I thought it was well done. And... you could see the logic in what he was saying.
Yeah,
but I could anyway, because I thought, I can get where your logic's coming from on that one.
Go ahead.
Sorry, on you go.
I was just saying that they kind of inspire. You get the sense that they inspire the two characters, both Marlena and Spock, are inspired by the Prime characters a lot, and are intrigued by how they are strong without being brutal, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
very cool. And then what were you gonna say, Robbie?
I just missed the revisiting the original series. I don't know if I've said, but I wasn't a big fan of the original series. When I was getting into Star Trek, the first show I watched was The Next Generation. And the original series was actually one of the last shows I watched. Ironically, I didn't know that was the first ever show.
That's cool.
So it was a bit backwards. And then after seeing TNG and Deep Space Nine, and Deep Space Nine is my favorite, I was kind of bored by the show. But revisiting it with you and Trek Cat has really just changed my view on a lot, actually, in a big way, and I'm seeing it in a really, really different way than I first watched it. A lot of these episodes I haven't watched for a long time,
Was as older Trekkies, I feel like I don't know if I can speak for TCC, but I feel like our job is done. Our duty is done. We've done it. I feel very accomplished right now. Thank you, Robbie. I'm glad you're enjoying this series more because of these discussions. It's cool.
I think these discussions as well. I think it helps Robbie and others who may not have watched it to see the threads that have, and the seed that was done in TOS that was really taken on with TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and so on. So I hope it's a service that we provide. So
yeah,
stuff
that's very cool.
Those things.
I think we all soften on things. Like there was a time where I wouldn't watch Star Trek series that were set in the past, so I no longer do that, and I love Enterprise. So, so I have to say, we all change our minds as we grow and develop, and we can revisit something and sometimes find something that we didn't see in it the first time, which is pretty cool. I guess that means we are the very flower of humanity, as Spock says, and that might be a good time to bring it to. Do you guys have any other points that we didn't go over before we rate it and give our final thought? Do you want to give your final thoughts, maybe?
I would just say that I missed the banter at the end of a TOS episode with Kirk and Spock, just having a bit of conflict or a wee joke between them. And I hope that we go back to that in Strange New Worlds, just a really positive, light note at the end of the episode.
I think Strange New Worlds. I think even with the short treks has lent itself to it a little bit. That you can see with number one, Pike and Spock. That you've got the possibility of that banter at the end of the episode. I think what Robbie's saying. I think there's a huge possibility. But they said they're going back to the old format. So let's hope they bring back Captain's Log. Let's hope they bring back the banter at the end of the episode. It'll be
really nice to see. It'll be really nice to see some of that stuff come back. It would be very cool. I agree. Any closing thoughts for you, Ian?
No, not really. I think we've covered it. As I said, it's not a franchise as such, but this was the first story that launched a whole number of stories that we saw throughout the other iterations of Star Trek. It's been in 3 other iterations, TNG, not TNG, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, Discovery. So we've seen that. I hope they don't do it in Strange New Worlds for a while. I'd like it to stay away from it. I know they said in Discovery that this is where the 2 universes are quite closely aligned, and then
and Scotty makes reference to that with the fields being near. That was cool that they use.
That's good. But
it's really cool. To me, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just real quick though, I love that when a future iteration of Trek enhances a past iteration of Trek, something like with a concept. So that felt like a little bit of that to me, which is very cool.
Yeah, so I hope in Strange New Worlds that they leave it for at least a season or so. Let's let the characters build. Let's see what the characters are. Let's have the banter, like Robbie said. Let's have all that. But you can't take it away. Mirror Mirror was the first one. And I would still say it's probably my favourite one of the Mirror ones. Mirror Darkly is a very, very strong second. Very strong second, but I think Mirror is, because it's the first one for me. It's the one that gets my vote anyway.
Yeah, as of right now, I would say I vote for Mirror Mirror being the best Mirror universe episode. What about you, Robbie? Which did you finally come to decide?
I don't think I can really decide because I've not watched the Deep Space Nine Mirror Universe episodes in ages.
Ooh, that's a project, a watch-along project. Maybe for Starfleet, that's a cool one. Yeah, because it's every season. I think Daniel was saying, right? Every single season they had a mirror, a crossover, right, to the mirror version of Terok Nor or whatever. It was cool, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So yeah.
So what do you think, Robbie, in the comparison between A Mirror Darkly and Mirror Mirror? What's your thoughts with the two?
Well, Mirror Mirror is, I would say Mirror Mirror is more a bit more character based than In a Mirror Darkly. In a Mirror Darkly feels a bit more like it's pandering to the audience and trying to craft nostalgia. But Mirror Mirror doesn't have that to rely on, so it has to provide the base plate.
Do you think it was more of a desperate attempt then, do you really, with Mirror Darkly?
I do love In a Mirror Darkly, but I do think it was specifically kind of fan made.
Yeah.
That's interesting. We'll have to have a whole conversation about that. I can't wait till you get to that on your reviews that you're posting, Robbie. Those are very cool.
I think I've got to revisit A Mirror Darkly. I haven't watched it in a long time.
It's a lot of fun. I have to say, I found myself. But what was supremely exciting for me was seeing the Connie, the Constitution class starship, with updated. It looked better than the remaster does. Like that version of the Defiant, that version of the Constitution class looks so good, and it glistened, and there was like there were like interesting textures on the hull, and like they nailed it with the photon torpedoes were the blue like lights. Like they just nailed it. Like I thought that it was a great one thing. Again, I love Star Trek Discovery, right? But it's harder for me to. It does take a little bit of a leap for me to connect Star Trek Discovery with TOS, because I think the aesthetics play such a huge part of it. And A Mirror Darkly showed me how you can have these two opposing aesthetics live in the same universe and make sense, because they nailed it. They like pulled it off completely. And it was really well done. And like they even created those new sets. Again, we could just go on, and this was about Mirror Mirror, but yeah, I still think this is my favorite. But Mirror Darkly,
I think with this, this one you can. This is one of those episodes where you can, like we did with Space Seed and Wrath of Khan,
right.
Those type of things. This you can connect this episode with all the other ones. So it's very difficult just to talk about Mirror Mirror
without
itself,
the others.
without sort of saying about A Mirror Darkly, without talking about the DS9, without talking about Discovery. They're so interwoven and interconnected. I mean, they even showed in Discovery the Defiant. I know they changed the way the Defiant looked in the graphic, but they still spoke about the Defiant in Discovery, in season 1 of Discovery, when they went to the Terran universe, the Mirror
100%.
universe. So I think it's not bad to be able to talk about it, because it is so interwoven with the other episodes that came later.
I agree. A 10 from me.
9.9 from me.
I think I'll give it a 9.9. It has to be a 10. If it's a 10, it has to really emotionally move me, or I have to be really moved on a character level. Maybe Measure of Man or The Visitor or Duet or something is like a 10 for me, but it's very close.
I'm pleased with your 9.5 and 9.9. That's very good. Or wait, you both gave it a 9.9, I think, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show. And audience, let us know what you rate this episode. We got a 9.75 already from the Terrans. Were unpleasant. Thanks so much for joining us. Everyone go check out Earl Grey Trekkie on YouTube. There's a new video for Enterprise. What episode was it, Robbie? The most recent one? Unexpected. Oh, that's funny. Because you also did it unexpectedly. Right? It was before the usual time that I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining that.
Well, I try to get it on a Monday or a Friday.
Gotcha. Excellent. But we also do Doctor Who discussions. And Ian, if you want to, I'm inviting Ian for you, Robbie, but I'm sure you're okay with that. But if you ever want to come on those Doctor Who discussions, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, Robbie and I have previously spoken about this.
Oh, before. Sweet. Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
We have spoken. Yeah.
Excellent. But yeah, those are fun, and they happen on Sunday. And we're doing a Superman feature film watch along, and we're gonna do Superman 3 tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that. I have a
Richard
lot of
Pryor. Richard Pryor.
yeah, it's true. I have a lot of thoughts about that film.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to share them. I'm going to see. We might have some special guests on that one. We'll see. I've been reaching out to a few folks, but yeah, those are a lot of fun. So please go check out. And you're only, what did you say? How many subscribers from 130?
8.
8. So if anyone here isn't subscribed, please consider subscribing to Earl Grey Trekkie. And on that note, please consider subscribing to Trek Cat, who's doing awesome fun stuff on YouTube with Legos and Star Trek builds. And I love it.
Well,
What's going on? What's the most recent thing going on with you?
That was the last that was the recent
yes,
one.
That's right. Oh, can we see it again?
Yeah, you can. It's got
so cool.
The communicator. It's there. So this is the latest one. This is what I've posted on recently. Can't remember, but the actual design, the instructions for this are free, and you can get them on rebrickable.com. Junescope, I think, if I remember rightly, is the designer for it, so you can get that. I've got don't worry about that. I can do it all as well. I've got that. Well, actually, to be honest, I've got two.
Nice. Starfleet Boy to Trek Cat.
Starfleet Boy, what are you doing? But
Don't sabotage my Lego build.
My next planned build is going to be the Enterprise C.
Ooh, excellent!
So
I think
that will be an interesting one to do. But yeah,
excellent.
I do that. I also write a couple of articles here and there for Treksphere.com. So have a look on there.
Yeah.
And if you do like Lego, and you're here because you love Star Trek, they're Android Soup on Twitter. If you do have Twitter account, have a look on there. He's just started a petition to try and get.
You mean Andorian
Soup? Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Andorian
okay,
Soup.
gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, wrong person. Sorry. Done a petition for trying to get Lego officially made. The last people that made it was Mega Bloks.
Oh, okay.
You can see the Enterprise up there. They've done.
I didn't realize there's no official Lego Star Trek license. What?
There's no. Nothing's been done for a long time. I've reached out to Mega Bloks. I've reached out to Lego. I've reached out to a few companies, but I just keep getting stonewalled. But there is a petition now that's just recently started to try and get some official Lego Star Trek or a brand. So have a look. It'd be really good if you could sign the petition. That would be great. So it's not so much of a shout out for me.
As you wish.
Please. Because a lot of us
Pirates Starfleet Boy says, "As you wish." We'll make it. That's awesome. Please check out Trek Cat. Subscribe also, and
because I'm getting very close to 180.
Yay! Awesome. That's cool.
About 178, I think I'm on about now. So I'm very close to 180.
Starfleet Boy also has a new channel. If you guys are looking for Starfleet Boy After Dark, we moved it to a brand new channel, and all you have to do is search YouTube for Starfleet Boy After Dark. It pops up. It's a yellow logo. Please consider subscribing. It's a little wilder and zanier, not for everyone on Starfleet Boy After Dark, but we have a good old time anyways. And last night I was defending E.T. and it was quite not defending it. I was just like saying that E.T. is the greatest movie from the 80s, and so you can go and check that out if you want to.
Back to
Greatest
the future.
sci-fi. Yeah, Robbie says Back to the Future. I forget what some of the other ones in the chat were last night, but yeah, that was a fun conversation. And one last thing, Fathery's not here today because it's his birthday and he's out celebrating, so we wish Fathery a very happy birthday. Right now, as we speak, I believe he's watching Transformers the movie, so he's in Fathery heaven right now. He's having the best time of his life, so we wish him a very, very happy birthday, and we look forward to having Fathery back on in a future stream. And I think that's it. I think we covered everything, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Alrighty. And so live long and prosper, and we will see you next time.